Hi, and welcome to week 2 of education policy. So this week we're going to spend some time exploring the background of policy issues that we're going to be dealing with the rest of the semester. And that background includes how schools are situated in different locations. We're going to have a reading that looks particularly at some of the unique issues that rural schools face and the dilemma that we have when we're trying to develop policy and bring that policy to scale, but at the same time make it something that can influence the education of children in a variety of different contexts. And one of the things that we'll be talking about is how rural schools are often left out of the conversation of big policy debates and what we can do to address that, particularly when we're working in a state like Arkansas or surrounding states where there's such a huge rural school population. Another thing we're going to talk about is just basic demographics and test scores. So we're going to be looking at how the demographics of the American student has changed over time and what the projections are for the future changes in those demographics and what we know about student achievement along those demographic lines. So we're going to be looking beyond just the achievement gap as it's traditionally defined and try to explore those numbers in a little bit more detail. And as we're doing that, the discussion for this week is to try to understand not only how does that background color the way we think about policy debates, but also to really explore what we're doing in schools in different locations and for different students towards the goal of developing our workforce and preparing students for college. So that's the primary thrust of our conversation for this week, is to think about, given that those are our primary goals, and then looking at the readings and understanding a little bit better what we know about what some of the weaknesses and strengths are that we have in the United States for preparing students for the workforce and preparing students for college. What do we see as some of those glaring weaknesses that could be addressed? Is there low-hanging fruit that we could take care of? And if we could, what level of educational delivery would it be most effective to try to deal with some of those problems, again, that we're talking about this week in the readings primarily, but also from your own experience? Is it at this building level? Is it the district, the state, or are these federal problems? And is that the locus where the lever could be most easily addressed to try to affect change? So that's our goal in class this week. As you finish your discussion board, at some point this week, if you haven't already, you will have the rubric shared with you on Google Docs, and you're going to access that. You'll have editing privileges with that document, and we'll be looking for you to provide your own feedback on how you did on the discussion board in a couple of different ways. One will be to provide a number that lines up with the number in the rubric. Feel free to use any number 1 through 5, even though we only provide criteria for 1, 3, and 5. You'll often find that your work is somewhere in between those numbers, so feel free to use those numbers. And then use the yellow highlight. You'll find that in the top toolbar, just like you would in a Word document, you'll be able to select a yellow highlight, and then you'll highlight some of the text and the criteria that best describes your work on the discussion board. And then finally, you'll identify what you believe are the top comments, both initial comments and follow-up comments. You'll pick one of each category, and you'll include that in your Google Doc. And then I'll get a chance to see all those, and as well as my teaching assistant, and who's helping me process all of this rubric work this year. And then we'll provide some feedback back to you, and this will give you a chance to sort of calibrate your feelings about how it is that you're working on the discussion board this semester, and how I think you're doing on the discussion board this semester, and we'll try to bring those ideas of what's expected together early on. And one of the reasons that we're doing this is that the discussion board is such a primary part of your grading for the semester. We want to make sure that we have a shared understanding of what good work looks like, and ways that we can improve and really ramp up the conversations in class online this semester. So that's our game plan for this week. I'm looking forward to seeing you online. And as always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me.